Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Brienne. Hi, Karor. Hi, Artisan and Sandra and Sprinkle Bar. Hi, Jay. So glad you could join. The hubby left must have. Hi. What do you... Oh, you're glad to be here. Thank you. I just for your info, Jay, I just spent 2 hours and I'm not done figuring out what you asked me to figure out yesterday. Good afternoon. Where are you located, Cora? Must be in the UK somewhere. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Does everybody have their cup of coffee? I got to tell you, I got so much to talk about. Look, I've been building this list. Like every day I add stuff for this coffee chat. Hi from Allentown. You're only about an hour away from me. Ireland. Don't speak Greek here. Had my monster already. You don't drink coffee. Go have tea. Grab a water. I'm just going to block that person because we don't speak that language. Langhorne, not too far. I'm in Glenmore. Packaging. I'm packaging. Oh, you might have, I think that was Bella Bakery. I'm Bella's Desserts. I didn't do a scope on packaging. Does a Tin Man. Nice. I love it. Oh, I must be somebody now. I got trolls. All right. So what you're seeing here is we'll talk about later. But for those of you who want to watch on replay after 24 hours, this is my, sure, you can if you'd like. But it's morning here. It's 10 a.m. in Pennsylvania. So www.catch.me/Bellas_desserts. That's my Catch Me channel. And you can watch basically, I think everything from the beginning of last week is there. So, all right, I'm going to flip you around. Hi. Hi, guys. Go ahead and share. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thanks. I know, most of the time when it's up and we're baking. Yes, Jay has been on this deck, but he wouldn't go in the pool. And now they're closing it on Friday, so. Okay, so I've been building this huge list since last week, since we talked, since I did my quick scope. Oh, how to share. If you have an iPhone, you go left to right and hit share broadcast. If you have an Android, you click on the little person in the bottom corner with the hearts are coming from, and that'll bring you also to the share broadcast. So, Jay, there are so many things to talk about for home bakers, and I know we're not going to talk about it every day, but I want to hit on different topics. So in Cake Noobs, I started posting like at the beginning of the week. So, you know, you can send me ideas what you want to talk about because I got a million of them. First, I want to say something. I stepped into a scope the other day of an artist who I think is brilliant. I don't have dimples. Morning, Alicia. Okay. So I walked into the scope and this artist is absolutely amazing. And I wanted to watch her techniques. And all along, she's been hi, Indonesia. Good morning, Once Upon a Cake. She gets kind of rude. She gets kind of short when people ask, I guess, what, you know, she thinks is dumb questions. But I stepped in the other day, and it turns out a friend of hers, I asked a simple question, and a friend of hers responded and said, duh. And I said, excuse me? And, you know, she answered my question really rudely, and then the broadcaster seconded her. That's the thing. If you are going to Periscope in this industry, please don't be rude. There is no rude questions. Well, there are rude questions, I guess. But there's no need to be rude if you're scoping. This is just for those that are scoping. So, but what I am going to ask you today, because I watched my replays and I found out so much about myself. First of all, I can talk really fast. And I talk really fast when I get really passionate about something. So I also, just so you know, I have ADD. I'm well medicated, but if I read your questions and I get off topic, like I noticed last Thursday, it's like I started sentences and never finished them. So, I kind of want to do a recap of you guys if you had any questions from last week. I also found out where to put the best camera angle. I'm going to tilt this down a little bit. Oh, I got to tilt it up because you know why? Makes you look better when you're looking at me from above. I know, it's so stupid. But you know what? I'm 53. I got my issues. Everybody has the issues. So I know Jay's always like, oh my God. Thank you. So I think I'm going to start every Wednesday scope. I know, it's on a thing. Well, I can only go so high. Hi, Whisket. Oh, thank you. My 14-year-old keeps me young. Looks better. Okay, makes me look, getting rid of this, right? Oh, I know. Boobs. That was my first couple scopes. I can't stand it. So, anyway, does anybody have any questions from last week? The messages are distracting, Jay, but I think and you and I have discussed this, what I think is great about Periscope, especially for those catching it live, is that people can ask real-time questions. Whereas if you're watching a video on YouTube, you can't ask questions. Don't know the topic. It's Home Baker Coffee Chat. We had one last week, and oh, great. We are talking about issues regarding being a home baker, home-based baker. And last week, I don't even remember what we talked about last week. Yes, every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so I'm just going to start with oh, thanks, Alicia. Go ahead, those of you who are new in here, go ahead and invite some people. That would be great. So I think what I'm going to start with is someone asked a question in, I think it was Cake Noobs. And she said, I know this is a silly question. Good morning, Lubel. Oh, I like that name. Good morning, Nancy. She asked a really good question about being a baker, and she meant it. She's starting off as a home-based baker. Hi, Saffron. But she wants to do a brick and mortar. And she said, when is it okay to say no to an order? And I thought that was a really interesting question. And I said to myself, I'm going to answer that. But, oh, hi, Breezy Sweets. Oh, Brienne. Oh, yes, Brienne, 9285, asked the question, when is it appropriate to say no? You know, the whole controversy with that bakery out in Oregon, turning away the gay couple's wedding cake. Just, you know, I don't want to get into politics and I don't want to get into religion. I really don't want to that's not what this is. That's not what this is about. They were a brick and mortar. They are now out of business because they said no. Hello, good morning. Sylvia said it last night. Yes, I heard her say that. All of you in here, if you look up Jay at Frosted Affair on Periscope, he was gracious enough to give us a live glimpse of Sylvia Weinstock. 135,000. I don't know what that means. You're throwing me off, Jay. Sylvia Weinstock was live in Tennessee, and Jay was there, and he scoped 2 parts of her speech, which you should definitely replay if you do, especially if you do wedding cakes. Sylvia Weinstock has been doing wedding cakes since 1980. She's kind of like the queen of sugar flowers and the queen of what we now know as cool wedding cakes. Oh, sorry for them refusing to do the cake. Yeah, so getting back to that, watch that scope on Sylvia Weinstock. She had a lot of great information. She's been in the business since the beginning. She started this cool new business in 1980. I've known about her since about 1990. She is the queen of sugar flowers, you know, and Ron Ben Israel is now the new queen of sugar flowers. But we'll talk. That's on my list too. Sugar flowers on my list. So when to say no. Let's focus on when to say no. So that bakery out in Oregon that said no because it was against their religious beliefs to have anything to do with gay marriage, even though it was legal in Oregon at the time. They said no. They were boycotted and they've since shut down because they just couldn't stay in business anymore. So when you have a home-based business, let's talk about home-based, okay? Because I have a daughter, and I started this business when she was very young, I have always said no to risque cakes. I will not do boob cakes. I will not do penis cakes. I will not do vagina cakes. I will not do, I won't even do corset cakes because I have a daughter. So my choice was to say no to those, okay? Anything else, I really don't care, as long as there's no profanity, which I've never had that. I have probably in all the time I've been in business, I've had not very many people ask me for those types of cakes. If I was a brick and mortar, really good question. Jay, can you chime in on a brick and mortar saying no to risque cakes? You won't do them. Okay, well, Jay has a brick and mortar and has had a couple of them, and he won't do them. So, you know, it's really up to you. It's your business. That's right. It doesn't align with your brand. What is your brand? As a home-based baker, especially if you're new, or even if you're not, you know, I've been doing this for 12 years from home, and I just rebranded, as a matter of fact. Think about what you want to put across. Who do you want to be? I know you want to put out the most delicious, coolest looking cakes, but think about the bottom line. Do you want to be, like, I have always been all inclusive. Even before gay marriage was legal, I've always advertised on Rainbow Wedding Network and every other gay and LGBTQ website, because I'll tell you what, the gay wedding, the gay population, and Jay, you could chime in, the gay population has a lot of money, people. They have a lot of money. And for businesses that turn away that money, they are so foolish. Because I'll tell you, I've done 6 lesbian weddings, and I just got my first tasting for a boy wedding. I'm so excited. I just told Jay last night about it. I'm so excited. It just became legal in Pennsylvania in April, I think. But I have always been a big supporter and a big proponent. And they have, you know, the weddings I've done, it's like they're just happy that you're happy to welcome them. Okay. And it goes such a long way in that community, to be kind and accepting and treat them like anybody else. You'd be amazed. I mean, I'm in Southeast Pennsylvania. I'm 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia. And I know bakeries that, you spend a lot of money because you have it. And it's an untapped market in so many areas. And now that same-sex marriage is legal everywhere, jump on that bandwagon, people. Don't be Kim, whatever her name was, and be all hateful and stuff. First of all, hate doesn't belong in caking. I think when you're hate and you're angry, it shows in your cake. I honestly believe it shows visually and it shows in the taste. Yep, don't be stupid. It's money. You know, who gives a crap about that? That's right. Hate doesn't belong in what we do. No, I don't think it's prostitute. I mean, yes, if you're really like fire and brimstone and you're really against homosexuals, that really is your choice. I think you're going to be left in the dust, but that's just my opinion. Everybody should be served. If they have money and they're going to pay their invoice before they pick up the cake or give you cash at pickup, why is their money any different? I don't know. That's just, if you run a business, I think you're really crazy to turn down any business whatsoever. My business is so varied. I've had people who don't have a lot of money, but they come to me because they want to give a great cake to, a daughter or whatever. I've only had one person in all these years who didn't have a lot of money. She was a single mom. She wanted to throw this big sweet 16 for her daughter. And she ordered, this was years ago, and she ordered like $300 worth of cupcakes and cake and all of that stuff. I didn't know all this about her until her check bounced. After a couple months of me like, where's your money? Where's your money? Because I wanted it beforehand, she bounced a check. And I had to eat the $15 fee. And in the end, she's like, hey, I'm a single mom. Why can't you understand? And I was like, no. And, so I didn't do her order. I canceled her order, and it had nothing to do with who she was or what her status was in life. She was trying to rip me off. And that's the bottom line, people. Cake, then why would it be an issue? Yes. And we could talk... discounts and donations are on my list too. So bottom line, when is it okay to say no? When you want to say no, but keep in mind that it will affect your business. As far as the dirty cakes or triple X cakes or whatever, it doesn't affect my business at all. But if you turn away someone because of their socioeconomic status, if you're discriminating in any sort of way, you will feel that in your bottom line. Just look at that bakery in Oregon. They're no longer in business. So I think that answers your question, Brianne. Well, okay, again, I'm not going to talk politics and religion here, because it's personal and I don't want to get preachy. I just want to talk about it from the business standpoint because the question was asked. When it's okay to say no, it's up to you. Just remember, and that's why Brianna was saying with a home-based bakery, like I said, I don't want to do graphic cake, and you don't have to. I'm gay. I would hope so. Yeah, so that's the bottom line. If you don't want to do graphic cakes, don't do it. I know in New York City and Florida, there are a couple bakeries that just do graphic cakes, and they're booming. So it's great. But, in the big cities, I think that exists. But out here, I know there are people out here that do it. I'm just so offended. I don't know why. It's just, I think they're disgusting. I don't think they're anatomically correct. And I think the way people are doing them is just really nasty looking. So that answers that question. Okay, so that's when to say no. Anybody have any questions about that? You don't do cakes? What do you do, baking shop? All right. So, let's see. What should we talk about? Oh, let's talk about social media. Oh, you make cookies. Same thing. It's the same difference for cookies, cupcakes, cake pops. Doesn't matter if someone wants a penis cake pop. That's up to you. If someone wants a rainbow cake pop because they're celebrating Pride, that's up to you. But again, I think there's a big difference between penis cake pops and rainbow cake pops. Right, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about social media. I know it was touched on in a few scopes within the last week about social media and whether it pays off or not. Let me tell you, social media didn't exist when I started. And I was in a quandary because I was like, okay, I'm home-based, but the only way to advertise is basically having a website and trying to work with Google and trying to figure things out that way. But there were other things at the time that still are valid. Okay, everybody has a community newspaper, right? We have these rinky-dink little community papers that just talk about what's going on in your community. I contacted them in the beginning, word of mouth. Yeah, it only gets you so far. Word of mouth only gets you so far. So advertising, let me just warn you,